Well, hey everybody, it's the what, 5th day of June, Thursday, Thor's Day, 2025. I'm Jan Erickson and this is As Above, So Below. Well, let's get started here. We'll take a rune from the Elder Futhark bag for the above side of things, or higher self side of things. Here we have Sawillo, which is the 16th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's an as above, so below rune. You've got Kenaz skewed above and below, forward and reverse, essentially to create Sawillo. And it's interesting because Kenaz is the torch or the light. You could say light of spirit. You could say the same thing with Sawillo, is the rune of the will, or the rune of the sun, or the rune of higher self. It also means self-confidence and healing. Illumination is the link between spirit and form. Looks like a little like a little lightning bolt there. Let's see what the geomancy rune is going to be. I'll throw the 4 down here, put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. There's water. There's air. Oh, well, we have albus, which is the complement of rubeus. Albus would be the sage, rubeus would be the misuse of force, the one that's just basically a misuse of force on steroids, really, with rubeus. But albus is about very similar to the rune Ansu's, which is Odin's rune, and so you're looking at higher awareness and wisdom, and the sage with albus. And so again, I think Sawillo and albus, I think they combine well together. I think they support one another. I don't think you have anything at odds today between the above and below side of things, or the higher self and ego side of things. I think that the ego is sort of, set aside here, where you're really bringing down the light into everything that you do, the higher consciousness, higher wisdom, higher self, into everything you think and do today, and the decisions you want to make today. I've already done some shuffling already, so let's just do a little bit more. Let's see what the cards have to say. They may contradict a little bit. We'll see. Or they may not. You never know. All right, let's cut the deck. Take the lower half. Set the top half aside and take 3 cards. Well, like on Monday, we had the Fool. Today, we have the Magician. And I think that, well, we also have the 3 of Swords. Yeah, we have a run on swords here, so we have the 3 of Swords. And then we have the Knight of Swords. Almost like the Knight coming in to deal with the betrayal of the 3, and how are you going to manifest a different mindset about it, and how are you going to manifest the decisions you need to make about all of it with the Magician, and to do that in some kind of higher balance, so that you're not reacting in a way that's just simply reacting to the situation without understanding the bigger picture of it all. You may still have, after doing so, you may still have the same belief about all of it, and that's fine. But it's the reaction, I think, that we want to maybe kind of keep a handle on here today with this, especially with the 3. Let's go ahead, though, and do the numerology for the reading. Like I said, we have 16 for Sawillo, and then we have a 3 of Swords, and we have the 1 for the Magician, so that's 20. Reduces to 2, so you're looking again in balance there. 2 is also about decisions. It's also about love, healing, reciprocity, and again, reacting in balance here and keeping your wits about yourself. Let's talk about the Magician. Yeah, well, you know what? Let's talk about him last. Let's talk about the 3. Here we have a 3 swords piercing a heart. You've got 1 sword in front, so it's almost like you've got these 2 doing something behind the back of this person. And so if you're this person, then there could be people undermining you. There could be a love triangle. There could be that's really a betrayal. But either however you want to see it, whatever this means for you, there's some kind of a betrayal here. You also see clouds up here. You see rain falling, and so it's a very emotional kind of thing. Even though this is a suit of swords, and that means the intellect. It's the air element, and so you're looking at the intellect and communication and trust and deception and legal matters maybe. So depending on how far this goes and what this means for you today, you may need to take some swift action to deal with it, to cut through the deception. You can see the clouds up here, and his sword, the knight's sword is extended up into the air. It's almost like he's cutting through the clouds of deception there. He's riding against the wind. You can see the trees blowing this way, so he's going this way, and he's riding against the wind. So there's challenges there. He's got his visor up, so he's seeing exactly where he's going. He needs to understand what happened here. He needs to deal with it in some way. And he needs to do it swiftly, but he needs to do it where he cuts through the deception of whatever's happening here. If this is a work situation, for example, this could be that you've got people that you're working with that are undermining you, that are maybe wanting to undermine you to the boss, maybe take credit for something that you did. It could be something like that. Or again, it could be two friends that are talking about you and saying things so they're not really your friends. And so the truth has to come out about whatever this is for you. And again, it can go a variety of ways. But if you just think in terms of something's undermining you, something is betraying you, and it's going to be something that's going to be upsetting, and you're going to need to deal with it. You've got the rain here and the clouds, so that already indicates deception. And again, you have the clouds matching here, but with the night, they're very forceful, they're very assertive, and they want to find out what's going on and deal with things, right? Well, it's telling you that you need to do that, but in order to do it, there may be some challenges that you face, especially in terms of figuring out what the truth is. And so that's something that you're going to have to do today or over the next few days. The magician comes in, and you see the magician holding his scroll high to spirit. The background of yellow indicates higher awareness or spirit. You see newness here with the roses and the lilies. You see all of his tools on the table, which also represent the suits of the tarot and the four elements, air, fire, water, and earth. You see essentially an Ouroboros around him, as a belt around him. You see the serpent grabbing onto its tail as a belt around him. So there's serpent energy there, protecting his manifestation. The circular figure 8 here, the lemniscate, suggests eternity and the continual movement through life. And manifesting continually throughout your life in physical reality. It's just one big, long, continual manifestation. Well, again, what are you going to do with this today? There's a element with the overall numerology of 2 where you need to stay in balance with everything. You need to not let the ego take hold here. You need to manifest whatever your decisions are and whatever actions you take from a higher perspective. And not get caught up in the drama that the ego wants you to get caught up in. That would be one way to look at this, especially with Albus. You want to take a higher vision there. Albus can also be very similar to the hermit here in the tarot, where he gets above everything. He gets up on top of a peak, and he's got his lantern with the lighted Merkaba on the inside. So he's trying to let the soul vision light everything below, so he understands everything from that perspective instead of getting down into the muck of the ego, because of course this can draw you there quite quickly. And you just want to make sure that whatever you're doing here to find out the truth, to cut through the deception, to meet the challenges that this is presenting, if we go with the same idea of this is at work, these whoever's doing this could be trying to undermine you with your boss. And again, if they're taking credit for the work that you've done or the ideas that you've come up with, they could get credit for it, and the boss is looking at you like, well, aren't you doing anything? When it's you that's being undermined, essentially. So there has to be a way to, if it's something like that, to convey that truth in a higher perspective way to the boss, and you're going to have to figure out how to do that. And hopefully, you've kept records, you've documented what you've done. It's always good to do that, especially when you are in a collaborative experience at work. You need to keep a record of all the things that you've done. So if you ever had to prove, well, no, that's my idea, I did that. And so that you get credit where credit is due. And so again, and that's a very swords or air element thing to do, basically, to keep records of things. And so you've got basically proof, if you had to deal with any deception that's going on, right? And so that's a very air element kind of thing, a very swords thing. But again, how are you going to manifest what you need to do from a higher perspective? Drawing down, this is a very as above, so below stance, as above, so below, bringing everything from spirit in, manifesting into form. And again, maybe with Albus, it's suggesting that, you might be a little wily in how you figure things out. You may trip people up in the things that they say by asking specific questions, that lead them with that. And they're so full of themselves, they don't even see it coming, right? So it could be something like that, where you have to think about things in a way that the others are not. And again, bringing down that higher awareness into what you manifest, into the decisions that you make about whatever this is for you that's happening here, this betrayal, this undermining. Again, it's going to be upsetting. And so you have to keep your wits about you and be able to understand what's really going on. If it's a love triangle, or if it's friends, so-called friends doing this, then, you may have to take a step back and decide, well, what am I going to do here? Do I confront them? The Knight of Swords suggests that you should, but do you want to, or are you just going to sit and try to figure out what this is and cut through the deception? But at some point, you may have to confront somebody about it. And the knight is somebody that would do that. But you have to confront them with the facts, right? You can't just go and confront them with emotion, like, how could you do this to me? You got to leave that aside. It's like, well, here's the problem. I'm the one that came up with this. Or here's the problem. You're trying to date my love interest, or you're trying to take that person from me, or people that I thought were my friends, or you're my family, and how could, you've done X, Y, and Z, and you've got to keep it out of the realm of emotion and more in the realm of intellect, and present your case, essentially, and have the facts in front of you. And so the knight's going to run around. You could interpret this that way, and say that the knight is going to go around and figure it out, and is going to figure it out quickly, because there's an element of speed with the knight here. You can just tell that by the horse and how fast it's galloping. It's galloping into the scene to try to cut through the deception and the lies and the drama, to try to find out what the truth is. And that's when you confront the people. Once you have the facts, if you're not sure of the facts, then you can't really do that yet, right? You have to be sure of the facts. And that's really, with the run on swords, that to me, that's what it suggests, is that it's suggesting that there's something going on behind the scenes that's a betrayal of some kind, or undermining of some kind, which is still a betrayal. And you need to figure out what it is and cut through the deception and present the facts when you do the confrontation. And draw higher awareness into everything that you do here, so that your motives are simply about, what you did isn't fair. you compromised me in some way, and you can't, that's not okay, and leave the emotion out of it, though. At least try to, because I'm sure, in your private moments you can get upset, but when you're dealing with the people involved, you have to be able to sit there and say, here's the truth of the matter, and here's my evidence. So whatever it is, love triangle, friend issue, family issue, work issue, something's happening that is not right, that people are doing you wrong, essentially, and you need to figure it out, and get the facts before you ever confront anybody. That way, they can sit there and wallow in their lies, but it isn't going to matter because you've got the truth on your side. So anyway, I think that's it. What a way to go into the weekend, huh? I'm sorry. Anyway, I have beans to plant tomorrow, pole beans and watermelon, and then I think we're done planting, other than a few extra little flowers I've still got to plant that we've had under lights and we grew from seed and stuff. I have some other herbs too as well. I have to wait for them to get a little bit bigger before I can plant them out in a new bed I put in. So that's what I'll be doing this weekend, and hopefully I won't be dealing with any kind of negativity like this and drama. So anyway, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video and a box will open, and it's right there at the top. If you scroll down to the bottom, everywhere I am on the dreaded social media sites are there. And I typically follow back unless I just miss it. But I try to go through and see if I have. Every so often I do that. But anyway, check out the stuff that comes out. It comes out on Sunday mornings about midnight, a little after midnight. I schedule them to post the forecasts for the week, the correspondences for work and magic. Throughout the week, though, on Mondays and Thursdays, I do a little reading notes write-up of the rune and tarot readings that I do here. So you can check that out as well. And I cross-publish over there on Substack, and that's called Witch Notes. You can also search for it under my name, or again, if you look in the below the video here, if you bring that box up, it shows where that is as well. There's a link to it there. I guess that's it. Anyway, have a good weekend, and again, be savvy. If something like this is going on in your life, make sure you've got the facts before you say anything, and choose your battles wisely. Anyway, we'll talk again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.